Hello everyone, it's great to see you all again here in week 4 of the Customer Service Revolution. John gave us some great info already today on finding the right team members, creating an interview process that can't be gamed, and making sure our leaders know how to lead within our service culture. I'm going to continue that conversation and share some tools that help organizations drive employee engagement and retention. Let's start by looking at why this even needs to be a focus of ours. One of the biggest issues that organizations face when trying to become a world-class service provider is voluntary turnover. As we all know, turnover can cause many issues, including lower morale, higher stress, and workload for our existing team, and of course, more work for our managers as they continually hire and train. That does not even cover the financial costs organizations have to face. What does it typically cost to replace an employee? The data shows us that at minimum, 1/2 their annual salary. But when we lose a rock star, that number can easily shoot up to 2 times their annual salary. Quite honestly, most organizations cannot afford to be stuck on that turnover treadmill. So, to tackle this issue, let's start by looking at the reasons employees leave. Top of the list is their immediate manager, such an important but often overlooked variable. We'll be talking more about this one in just a moment. The second reason on the list is poor fit for the role, which could mean they are in the wrong seat or maybe they are not properly trained. The number 3 reason is that fellow coworkers are not committed. This one typically happens when leaders are often too busy with other priorities and not focused on their teams. Number 4 is pay and benefits. So often people assume this one is number 1. But it's not. While it's important, it's not the biggest factor. And finally, not feeling a connection to the organization. Let's take a closer look at the number 1 issue on the list, their immediate manager. Very often, organizations simply don't realize how important this dynamic actually is. And it reminds me of the old saying, people don't quit jobs, they quit bosses. In a recent poll conducted by LinkedIn, when asked why they were leaving an organization, 75% cited a boss as their number 1 reason. 75%. If your organization is experiencing some turnover issues, you might want to start by looking at some of those interactions, or lack thereof. But I have some good news to share. We know how to help you fix this. We know what works. As a matter of fact, we have a list, and here it is. Here are the top 5 tactics for employee retention as researched by Gallup. Number 1, develop personalized action plans. Number 2, create opportunities for employees to learn and advance. Number 3, provide career coaching. Number 4, give your employees autonomy and the space to be creative. And number 5, recognize achievements big and small. There it is. There's the list. Here is what we need to focus on to drive engagement and retention. But here's the problem. How do we execute it? We all know if we walk into a meeting with leaders and said, make these 5 things happen, we would get as many variations as there are people in the room. How do we bring these bullet points to life? How do we make them actionable and a priority? We need to give our managers a tool to help them execute these and do it consistently across the organization. Here is the tool. We call it the Employee Experience Manual, or TEAM. And here's an example of a front cover from a great partner of ours, Advanced Financial, based in Nashville, Tennessee. Here is what we do in the process. We identify the important stages and milestones where we need to ensure that engagement is happening. We then dissect each one of these stages. We start by looking at what are the things that can go wrong, as well as what are the things that should be happening operationally. Then, and here's the important part, we look at where we can add experiential standards that are specifically focused on building a better experience, as well as above and beyond standards, identifying where we can surprise and delight. Here's an example of a finished stage from our partner Mid-States Concrete in South Beloit, Illinois. As you see, their finished manual has specific to-dos for the manager to focus on, as well as the human resources and marketing teams. You will also notice on the far right that a column exists that lists their experiential standards along with their above and beyond opportunities listed on the bottom of the page. As you see, this employee experience manual is truly a playbook designed to consistently drive engagement throughout the organization. Here are 2 other best practices to consider deploying if you are looking to improve engagement and retention. The first is departmental huddles. Looking back on the list we discussed before that we are trying to bring to life, team huddles can be such an effective tool to share learning opportunities, share examples of autonomy, and of course, recognize all of the achievements that have taken place within our department, both big and small. Here's an important thing to keep in mind. Just like we cannot put a list of 5 tactics from Gallup on a screen and hope for a change, we also cannot simply tell our leaders to go huddle and then expect them to do it well. Make sure you are providing a huddle guide or template for your leaders, and consider getting iPhone video of a great huddle to share as an example. A second great tool is conducting regular one-on-one meetings between leaders and their direct reports. In these meetings, we can focus on personalization of action plans and career coaching, as well as touching on all the rest of the list in a confidential environment. Similar to enacting huddles, you cannot simply tell your leaders to conduct one-on-one meetings without giving them some guidance. Here is a great example from our partner at ATI Physical Therapy. Notice that it guides each leader through a consistent conversation that helps build rapport and engagement, as well as focuses on the work at hand. Does all of what we're talking about today work? Yes, it does. Here's one quick example from Mendoza Company, a large franchisee of McDonald's restaurants based in Columbus, Ohio. After conducting their employee experience manual creation workshop, they decreased their turnover by 34% in just 1 year. To learn more about building engagement and improving retention in your organization, be sure to join me for my webinar called How to Ensure Leaders Know How to Drive Engagement. Check out the app for more information and the link, and we'll see you there.